Okay, and we're live. Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on, man. We've been acquaintances for a few years now. But for the
That's,
people who don't know who Dave Nelson is, did you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
yeah, well, do you want me to go through the whole story?
Whatever,
Or
whatever you want. Just like a little
yeah,
condensed story about your life
yeah,
and where you came from.
yeah, yeah. Well, we grew up in Melbourne. Come out of high school from 18 to 23. Tried to be an employee. Failed at I think 14, 15 different careers in that period, which is quite a lot of times to get fired and let go in a 5 year period. And then luckily at that stage, I realized, and I tried to start a couple of businesses and failed miserably. I tried to start a juice delivery business out of my kitchen at my parents' house, and realized I didn't want to make juices at 4 a.m. every day, and that wasn't really for me. And yeah, luckily, about 23, got introduced to a company while I was in America, working on a cruise ship, teaching fitness and wellness and whatnot. And then we brought an American health supplement company out from America in about 2011. We went on to do, tens of millions of sales with that company, and that really was the platform for my life, where I learned self development, marketing, sales, business. Like, I learned everything. Had
Business
a great
101s.
mentor,
Yep.
and that's where I obviously met you through that company. And was lucky enough to have a mentor that was, basically my hero for probably 5 6 years in business, and then moved on to other ventures, a lot of other ventures, from small ones that do small revenue from writing books on marketing or health, to hospitality, to alcohol, to everything in between. We've got e-commerce products here. Like, it's
Mm.
been a crazy ride. I'm probably a serial entrepreneur that can't turn the brain off. Really into health, wellness, having a good time, being outdoors, active. I'm full of energy generally. So yeah, I need to use that up, whether it's surfing, tennis, gym, thinking, business, talking, So yeah, I'm pretty full on, but try and get the most out of life.
That's it, man. And when I think of Dave Nelson, I think two words: serial entrepreneur. You are everywhere at every single time. I was just saying before we started this, me and Vanessa saw you on Shark Tank once, that the famous TV show. I can't remember on
Yeah,
which channel it was, but it was so cool. I'm like, oh my God, it's Dave Nelson and Marco. Shout out to Marco if you're watching.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a good experience. It's not as scary and intimidating as it seems when they cut it up. They're actually all really cool, and it goes for a lot longer than 10 minutes that you see, and obviously it's cut up in a way where it seems a bit more dramatic and a bit more
Yeah,
tense
of
and
course.
and
Made for
whatnot than
TV.
it actually is. Yeah, yeah, but that was an awesome experience. Yeah.
No, that's really good. And you were saying how you got let go from so many different jobs. I come from a similar situation. I counted today. I've been fired from 8 different jobs. So I'm not quite at 15, but I have been let go a lot. But luckily
I didn't.
enough,
I got to a point where I didn't quite let them fire me, so I let myself go right before I pressed eject, right before I was getting the boot, to say the face. So I got the
ejectocito,
good job that
cuz.
time.
Nice, nice. And how? Because obviously we're in the middle of this massive pandemic, or as Rob like to say, plandemic.
Yeah.
How have you been holding up since this whole shitstorm started? Like, I know because you had a few businesses. How's that affected you and your business life cycle any way?
I've been so lucky that the businesses I'm running and involved with at the moment, all of them have really thrived, and made my phone. I can't stop the phone ringing. Just opportunity. It's like
Mm.
every entrepreneur I know is sort of resetting, replanning, and the phones are just running hot. Hey, let's give this a crack. Let's do this. This is this opportunity. So I can't sleep at the moment. I'm really one of the, a small percentage maybe, but with that luck, I also had the last 2 years I've eaten shit in everything I've done.
Mm.
Maybe longer. I reckon 2.5 years I've just eaten shit
It's just
from
part of the
house I've
game.
lived in. Yeah, and probably to a point where I always used to tell people that I would mentor, hey, it's not going to rain forever. Like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I've kind of gone 2.5 years of some bad luck, some bad decisions, all the above, and going, shit, this is a lot of rain for a long period. What happened to the autumn, spring and summer? Like, I'm not seeing them right now. Yeah, on your background. And
Life
then,
is like the changing
yeah,
seasons.
since the virus, I've just been really, really lucky that I've got, last year I had a business model, go under at the start of the recession. terrible timing for a long list of reasons. But now it's, when you're diversified and you do other things, sometimes economical factors are going to screw you, and sometimes they're going to boost you. See, I've been really lucky, and opportunity's hot, and I'm a hermit, so I don't really. There's not so much difference. In fact, my life's probably got better, so I don't have to go to meetings I don't want to anymore. I get to be in my own space, think, play music, create, write, research. Like, that's my zone. That's my happy place. So
Yeah.
I'm probably maybe so happy in this period I feel a bit guilty because I know so many people are really suffering, and
Yeah.
it's tragic.
It's a tough time. I was looking at this thing on Twitter. This guy shared it on Twitter, and it was a chart of the unemployment claims in the US. I don't know. It was a very popular meme yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, it was probably a meme. But throughout the 70s, it was pretty, sideways, even up until the beginning of 2020. It just went exponential, like all the way up to like
Yeah,
6.6 million jobless claims. That is
yeah.
insane. We have never lived through anything like this. Our parents, our
No,
grandparents have never lived anything like this before. This
no,
was back in
absolutely.
the 1920s during the Great Depression.
Yeah, yeah, and this is probably worse and more impactful, and yeah, it's a pretty crazy time.
Pretty insane time. And just piggybacking off what you said, how you're in your zone, you're just flowing at the moment. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that because when we were talking this morning, you said you're living more in the present, in the body, in the mind, and the spirit. What have you
Yeah.
been doing lately for that?
Yeah, well, as we kind of touched on this morning when we had a brief chat on Facebook, but yeah, probably last year was one of the toughest years I've been through. Pretty much lost everything, like lost half, over probably close to half a mil, hadn't been paid for 2 years on a lot of things I'd done. So naturally after that experience and 2 years of really eating shit, you're pretty down, like you're a bit flat. You're pushing through it because you mentally tell yourself to just keep pushing, don't let anything stop you, blah, blah, blah. But your energy is not quite the same. And then this year, right on that New Year's period, like I've done a lot of different psychedelics before to try and, I guess, enhance your wisdom or enhance your understanding of a higher realm. So I've done ayahuasca retreats, I've done sound healing, I've done meditations,
Oh shit, you
all
did
different kind of.
ayahuasca?
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times over a 3 day.
Did you go to the
Um,
Amazon?
no, you can do it in Australia if you
Wow.
know the right people.
Oh, that's
And yeah,
insane.
yeah, and that was an insane experience. But this year, I started experimenting with LSD, and one of the reasons behind that, I guess, is well, I don't know if this is true. I'm just validating it's confirmation bias supporting what I want to do. But I can't remember the company, but I've read a book. One of the big tech companies in Silicon Valley, we're at the final stage of hiring the CEO, and basically the story goes that they chose the person who had experimented with psychedelics because they really felt that they would have a higher level of understanding,
Wow.
spirituality, connection to the universe. And so I started, and when I say I use it, I've done it twice. It's not addictive, which is fantastic.
How much did you do?
Um,
How many micrograms?
I'm not sure what's a tab under the tongue.
The
I
tab
don't
is
know.
usually around 100.
Yeah, yeah. So whatever a tab is, just whacked it under,
Yeah.
and had the most profound experience of my life by tenfold. Like it was
Oh my
the
goodness.
most like for example, the first time I did it is I've never been able to meditate. I've read 101 books from yogis to Wayne Dwyer to everything about
Yeah,
meditation.
you're
I've
like
never been
Gary
able to do it.
V. He doesn't
I'm like,
meditate either. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'll set the timer because I have to. I hate every minute of it. All right, I'm 60 seconds over. I've done it for the day. Hated it. Anyway, in this, I wouldn't even call it a trip. It's not that intensive. It's more just a lucid dream almost. I just had this epiphany and saw why. Basically, the biggest message in my first trip and the second one was really about letting go, about detaching from. And it's funny. It's a lot of Buddhist wisdom, Taoism philosophy of letting go. And people think attachment is just, oh, I'm attached to my car, my Ferrari, or my, I don't know, whatever cloak, Gucci top or whatever. But actually, attachment is being attached to how your life should be, what your day should look like, how others should talk to you. And when you're attached and have all these attachments and that doesn't go to plan, most of us are triggered and we go crazy. And I was probably to a degree one of them. And then really really being able to tame that monkey mind, because that monkey mind, the best quote I've heard about it is, that monkey mind, that inner voice that goes all day, it's a terrible master but it's an amazing servant. And during my trip, I finally got it. And I was like, holy shit, this monkey mind is sending me through hell right now, especially after a year of going under. That monkey mind just does not shut up. Like in this trip, I'm like, oh, wow, this is how people go through psychosis.
Wow.
Because that mind just keeps going and it's not helpful and you're not questioning it or aware of it. So you lose your mind with this monkey mind. You're full of attachments on the world needs to be this way. And this trip just made me let go. It let go of everything. It's like, you got to let go. You got to let go of what others are thinking about you. You've got to, that brain's going, hey, you're going for a walk in nature. And you're going, what am I going on tonight? Oh, what's Marco doing today? Hey, what's my business partner Carl doing? Oh, do I leave that? Like the mind can't slow down. And then through this trip of letting go, and then that introduced me to get back into Buddhism, Taoism beliefs about, and I think that the first two truths of Buddhism could eliminate 98% of human suffering mentally at the moment. And yeah, it was just this unbelievable experiencing bliss. And then probably the biggest one, and we talked a little bit today about getting in flow state, is, and what yoga traditionally is meant to be, is being able to source that universal energy, that power of the universe, and getting it coming in and out of the body. And I think most people are too blocked, rigid mind, rigid body. There ain't any flow going through those meridian lines, you know?
Yeah.
And then if it does get in, it's stuck and it boils up like a kettle until we explode at someone. So yeah, all these, and I've come up with business ideas in that period. And yeah, it's the most amazing thing I've ever done. And
were you writing those ideas down on paper or recording your voice?
Writing it down. Yeah. So I kind of go into I listen to music. For me, you've got to find in all my ayahuasca, LSD, it's always been the right music. I've seen it and felt it transfer my mind take it to the other.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's a realm, a state,
music
whatever
is
you
a
want to
must.
call it. Who knows?
Music is
it's the music. So I just listen to some music and just chill and kind of fall asleep for a little bit. And then when I get a good point, I'm like, wake up, grab my phone and write notes. My notes are crazy. Like it's funny to read the next day. I'm kind of trying to decode it going, oh my God. But it's awesome. And yeah, I've just been a lot more in flow, a lot more relaxed, and better things have been happening for me when you connect. I believe when you let go and you learn to let go and stop resisting, the universal energy and universal messages and connections have started flowing into my life again. Like it's been crazy. Like the synchronicities and everything's just coming through. It's an amazing feeling. Like I'm walking and I'm able to create this high, this energy through the body every day now. And I've created a whole practice around this, which is a business I'm launching later this year, but that's a story for another day, is really about getting your body with that energy going through the body, just where you've almost got goosebumps during the day, just listening to a bit of music and going through a basic visualization. So that's what I've experienced this year. So this year's just been magical for me in a lot of ways. And it's been great.
Was there a point in your life where you're like, okay, you've never done psychedelics before and you're like, okay, I want to try it? Or what was the thinking behind it?
Well, I'd always been invited to go do these ayahuasca retreats, and I've always been busy. And then one day, maybe a year or two ago, a buddy messaged me and he goes, hey, you should come. And my normal just autopilot response is, nah, busy, I've got this on. And then I went, hey, nah, I'm like, actually, I got nothing on this weekend. That's weird. It must be time. Must be the universal time.
Party time.
So I went along. And, it's just my time. And went along with the ride,
That's awesome. So you did ayahuasca. For people who don't know what ayahuasca is, it's the drinkable form of DMT. So, and it's much more slowly released and not as intense as smoking straight DMT. How would you describe that experience, Dave? Because that's no normal experience that a human being can undergo. That is very intense.
Yeah, well, I'd say I've done it both times, maybe 25 people, and I'd say maybe 5 or 6 people in the room both times don't really experience anything. It doesn't, for whatever reason. I fasted for probably 24, 36 hours before because I wanted the body clear. Like I wanted the full effect. Like I'm drinking I'm having 2 serves. I didn't come out to this bush to not feel anything.
Yeah.
Like give me that juice. And it's just, it completely takes over your body. It's very intense. Like almost like a convulsion, I was purging for hours one of the times.
So vomiting and diarrhea as well?
Just vomiting for me into buckets, filling buckets. But went on a crazy experience where I was, at one stage, I become the ocean. So I could feel the full force and the coldness of the ocean. Then I become the mountain. Like it was a really bizarre experience. And then the second time I did it was like just a self-development journey. It was very calm. And I just went through and said, hey, Dave, why aren't you doing this? This is your skills. You're not doing it. It was kind of just like a observation of my life. So two completely different experiences with the same plant. Um, yeah. So yeah, I think everyone's different at that time, and yeah, and some people maybe aren't ready for it and have a bad experience and kind of melt down, which
Yeah.
is why I think some people maybe don't dabble with it.
100%. Some people definitely should never do psychedelics. Obviously, people who have a history of mental illness in their family, and people who are more prone to psychosis. So people who kind of, I would describe it in a way that they don't really have a real grip on reality and life as we know it. People who are, bound by this matrix that holds us in. Whereas, more open people, more open-minded people like me and you, we would take a psychedelic and we'd have a totally different experience and actually benefit from it. I know you mentioned how you felt like you were the ocean, you were one with the ocean. It's funny because I've had a very similar experience um, when I had mine, and I got to the point where it was ego death. Would you describe it as ego death? What you had?
Nah, not really. Not really. No, not for me. I've heard that quite a common one, but no, it wasn't that for me. No.
Yeah, because I remember I was face down in the water and I could feel the water on my face, and I kind of just let go and I just became everything. And my face
Yeah.
literally melted off, and I was looking at
Yeah.
myself from above, and
Yeah.
it was the most blissful, um,
Yeah.
peaceful experience I've ever experienced
What was
before in
that
my life.
DMT? Was
This
that
was
DMT?
LSD.
LSD. Okay, cool. Awesome.
LSD, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
what? Because you've tried LSD as well, have you ever done psychedelic mushrooms?
No, I haven't done, but mate, to be honest, LSD has been so profound. Like, I will try something else, but I'm like, that would just be, in a couple of months when the time's right. Like, I think it's for me, it's just I've never experienced the. It was just enlightening, literally. Like, it was just phenomenal. But I'm
Yeah.
sure I hear good things about mushrooms too, but haven't gone down that path yet.
Yeah, these things have a long history in human civilizations for,
Mm.
providing
Oh yeah,
enlightenment and
yeah,
just use it as a ritual. I mean, the people in the Amazon, obviously, they
yeah,
brew the ayahuasca brew, which, in their words, they say that the trees told them how to make this brew.
yeah,
It's combining two plants
yeah,
together and then adding
yeah,
boiling water to it, and they made ayahuasca somehow magically. The
yeah,
trees told
yeah.
them. It's fucking
Yeah. Well, I
ridiculous.
think I think throughout the centuries, people have always talked about whether it's monks have meditated for 20 years to extract truth from a tree or the universe, whatever it may be. So I definitely believe when you're in tune and whatnot, you are given some form of gifts and signs and knowledge and wisdom from thin air or whatever you want to call
Yeah, in that ether, you kind of just like get on that same frequency, and you can now access these pieces of information that weren't normally accessible in a sober state. Fascinating stuff. And you mentioned going with the flow. I
it.
I remember for me personally, my best experience with flow state is when I'm playing basketball. I've been playing
Yeah,
basketball my whole life. I'm pretty good at it,
yeah,
and I remember those games that you play that you're just in the zone and you can't
yeah,
miss, and you
yeah,
just pop and shot after shot after shot. And the
yeah,
trick is when you get into that flow state is to not acknowledge it, because as soon as you acknowledge it, you kind of like snap out of that flow state. So I remember if I'm in flow state and I'm hitting shot after shot after shot, my teammates trying to pump me up like, yeah man, fucking keep hitting the shots. I'm like, shut up, I can't get distracted, I'm in flow state.
yeah,
It's so
yeah,
crazy. um but yeah, I remember when I first started at Your Health, when I met
yeah.
you and Rob and Kyle and Marco and all the guys that
Mm.
were with Your Health. You had a book and an audio book that I used to listen to. I used to listen to that thing every single day. The new era of network marketing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back in the day.
Back in the day, I had it on my iPhone on the way to work. I would listen to it, and you'd just be talking and preaching. It was the best thing ever.
Rambling on.
Yeah. I think Chris Curran told me once that you recorded that in some place in Bali where it was like stinking hot and 40 degrees or something like that.
I was actually Gold Coast, but it was a sweatbox and wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. So the audiobook wasn't perfect because I just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, you did.
Harder than it looked. Harder than it looked. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
for me it was great because the information was valuable, and to me that's all that mattered. It doesn't matter. You might be a perfectionist, but I got so much value from that book and that
yeah.
audio. Um, so at what point in your life, Dave, did you kind of really decide to take control of your life instead of being, kind of like a drone in the rat race and paying the bills and living paycheck to paycheck? Was there like a certain moment, or was it a kind of gradual evolution?
Um, I think it was gradual, but there was a point where I remember I was at home at mum and dad's, just come back from America to launch this product, and I've been broke for so long, like needed $500 to qualify for broke, like I was rock bottom. And I remember I just wrote in a texter on my wall, LITS, line in the sand. You gotta mark a line in your sand in your life and say, this ain't fucking happening ever again. I'm not going back. And yeah, I believe that had a massive effect on my mindset. And when you do, I believe when you not just say it, but mean it, and you start going aggressive. I feel like the universe, when you start something, I've just got this theory that the universe, when you start a business or whatever, it'll just throw a lot of challenges at you and go, let's see if you really want it. And it's not until like the universe, like even in the animal kingdom, it's like an animal prey might, nibble around at you. It's not until you roar, the lions roar, that the animals move back. And I believe it's similar when you show a bit of heart and fierceness and aggression and just this is it. This is not happening. I'm making this happen. I believe the universe sort of goes, whoa, all right, let him throw. He's serious.
You got to
I've
really
seen
mean
it
it though,
many
right?
times. Yeah, you got to really mean it. You can't just say, "Oh, I want to be rich." Oh, what's the secret? Yeah,
No,
yeah. But
that's
I've just got this. I've always had that weird theory. When you really go, "That's it," and you draw that line in the sand, the universe gets out of the way often.
And I guess the same goes for when you're just about to quit. That moment when you're just about to quit, that's when success is right around the corner.
Many times
Yeah.
we hear it over and over again. Yeah, it's many stories. Yeah.
What was the most devastating moment in your life? Whether it be business, in life in general, something that, absolutely crushed you and devastated you to the bone, and how did you bounce back from it?
I've been lucky not to have like as I said, last year I lost everything. If like I'm talking everything, it's not most people say they lost everything. They've still got 50 grand in a hole in the backyard. I didn't have $5 in the hole. Like it
Just two
was
years
empty.
ago.
Oh, last year. Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. So how long you saw my house in the Gold Coast? It was
Oh,
stunning home on top of the mountain, looking over the coast. And
and your
what was happening
Ferrari?
was yeah, it was good times. Right as I went to sell, the house was starting to split down either side.
What?
So I went from nearly making a 50 grand profit on that house to everyone pulling out. I got bent over, lost sort of 70, 80 grand on the books, but I had to give them away. Like I lost a lot more than that, like a couple hundred. Then to have a business go under. And, I went from, 26 years old, living in my, dream house, sports car, all the above, to back to zero. So that was obviously rock. Well, I guess you could say rock bottom, but I guess there's two sides to it because I think even during that rock bottom where I didn't have $500 in my bank account, I was still in LA, I was still in Malaysia, I was still doing all these trips. So people probably didn't think I was struggling at all, but I was just kind of in a lucky position where I was getting flown to different places from different. I wasn't paying for any of it, to different places for different businesses, and I'd been pretty generous when I was making the big money, so other people were sort of generous back, and I kind of my lifestyle was like I was in pain, but I still had an amazing life. Like I still wasn't working a job. I was still traveling around and having great conversations. Obviously, my energy wasn't there. I was pretty flat, defeated, a little bit. I wouldn't say angry at the world. Like I always probably thought I'd make it back. Like I wasn't worried that I never lost my confidence in myself one bit. But yeah, it was just more. Yeah, that was probably it. And but I guess what got me through was, to be honest, and a lot of this will be very unpopular, but Donald Trump was probably one of the biggest inspirations.
Wow. Okay.
Because if not many people know, but this guy lost $1 billion in 1 year on a casino. Probably it's probably like the fastest $1 billion to ever vanish. He launched Trump Airline. That went to shit. Had all these failures. Do you think he sat there questioning himself? Oh no, he's like, I'm moving on to the next thing. I believe in myself. I'm going to run this whole country, and nothing ever slows him down. But most people I'd seen that had a business go under either A, take 3-4 years to recover, or B, don't recover at all and give up on their dreams. And I'm always like, speak to myself in that third party. It's like you're gonna look back one day and go, I'm not that piss weak. Like I'm a fighter. My character's stronger than that. So don't settle. Don't weaken. So that mindset got me through, but I certainly wasn't in peak state. Like I'll give you the hot tip. Um, and then yeah, and eventually, fortunately, things get better and the tables start to turn and you start to have some wins and new opportunities arise from nowhere and yeah, you ride the highs and the lows, unfortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah, and that just reminds me back of this message. Life is like the changing seasons. You have your summer, you have your winter, and you
Yeah,
have your spring and your autumn, and you got to do different things in those different seasons to kind
yeah,
of get yourself back
yeah.
up to the top.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you have a shit summer. Like
Yeah.
I think Melbourne this summer was terrible. We got no hot that. We got bloody bugger all hot weather,
Yeah.
So, but this winter might be great. It might barely rain. So, yeah, I think that's the other lesson in that change of seasons as
Oh,
well.
100%. Jim Rohn used to say, even if it is summer, it still might hail on your crop, and then you're fucked.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Oh,
exactly right.
speaking of Trump, you mentioned Trump. Because now's a very juicy time for conspiracies. Are you deep into any of the conspiracies, mainly QAnon?
I'm definitely not deep on any of them. I take a entertain. I call it. I take a popcorn observation, meaning I kind of probe and I'd probably deliberately trigger the people that take it too serious. So I kind of put out a few little comments that I just know will ruffle a few feathers and I'll get a laugh and they'll get a bit heated, which I probably shouldn't do. But
Gotta have fun.
no, but I do follow it. I have I'm my latest theory that I heard last night, and it seems plausible, is that the, this money system's finally going to collapse. And I've heard, and who knows if it's true, that all governments have approved basically Federal Reserve, scrap it, go back to a back currency behind gold, silver, whatever else, the blend of things. So that's what I heard, and that's probably the first one I've heard. I've gone, this sounds pretty plausible and reasonable, and this coronavirus has just pushed that over the edge. And who knows if it was let out deliberately by someone, or if it's just has been let out and we exaggerate it to be able to make a change. But no, I don't think too much about it. I kind of like I think most of the success guys say, like, focus on what you can control, not what you can't. But it's interesting. It's like
Yeah,
it's good conversation. Like
it is. It's the
it's good.
only
Like, I
conversation at
enjoy
the
it.
moment. I mean, it's all that's being talked about.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
you
get
can't
away
do
from it.
it. Yeah, but I
Um,
do think obviously like the media, just do a terrible, like the media should be shot for false out. There should be
mm,
rules from every government that if you do fake news with fake headlines, which has a massive effect on the population as a whole, you should be punished. Like I think they get away with murder,
it's bad journalism. That's what it is. It's
right?
really bad
And
journalism.
they got no accountability.
It's all fucking clickbait. It's all getting
Yeah, it's
people to go
clickbait.
to the.
These news companies are marketing companies. They're not true. Their intention's not to give the accurate news. Their intention's to make money. Now, a well-known YouTube marketer says right now the biggest clicks that get clicked through at the cheapest rate on YouTube is outrage. So news articles know that outrage gets more clicks. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to bend the truth, make it sound a little bit more
Yeah,
dramatic, a little bit
pump it.
worse. More clicks, more advertising space, more money. The merry-go goes round. So that's kind of obvious why it happens. And when you understand it, and then you look at the headlines, and then you look at everyone overreact. It's kind of like, come on, guys, come on, think a little bit deeper here.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned that, you're thinking that this might be the great monetary reset of our times.
Yep, yep,
Kind of the US losing its dominance. Because when you look back in history, you had the Netherlands, you had Great Britain, you had France, and now we've been under the American system for the last almost 100 years, and they
yep.
usually only average out to be 100 years long. So we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
at the tail end of that now, and
Yeah,
this might be
yeah.
the big thing that kind of triggers that reset, and we go to, in my opinion, like a global standard, like maybe like a one
Mm.
world currency.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
think we'll
gold
go in
standard comes
stages.
back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll go in stages. I think eventually they'll try and do it, but who knows? And I guess my question is, and you're probably a bit better in that space, is will they go to a blockchain or will they stick to another just digital currency that is backed by gold and whatnot? So that's the other interesting topic for debate. That the
Well, they're gonna come out with their digital fiat.
Yeah,
Essentially, they're gonna
exactly.
call it and brand it and market it as this great blockchain cryptocurrency digital dollar, which
Yeah.
China has already released. They have their own version. So they're called CDC, C, so central bank digital currencies, right? And essentially, what it is just a digital version of the fiat system. Whereas
Yeah,
Bitcoin is
of
completely different in terms of its monetary
course,
theory. You
of
got
course. Yeah,
21 million
yeah.
fixed supply.
Never
You can
more.
never
There's no
create
more. You
more.
can't print it. Yeah,
Exactly, it's the digital gold and the way that the people market it, and Facebook's and many of these other corporations are going to come out with their own corporate coins as well. So we're going to have three
mm,
forms of money, four including precious metals if you count those as well.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
going to be very, very interesting to see what actually holds value in these next few
yeah,
few years. And I
yeah,
got my bets on Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and silver. I think they're going
yeah,
to perform
yeah,
extremely well in the next few years, and
yeah.
we might we might see, like I said, a one world currency. We might see a one
Maybe.
world government. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anything's on the table right now.
In
Who
this
knows?
time, isn't it, with the crazy shit that's going on, anything could happen. Like I think, obviously, seeing Epstein and those types all finally exposed, like they're the first. I think there'll be a domino of people exposed for this, you know, shocking behavior. What they do with underage and whatnot. That like, who would have thought that would ever come out? And actually, it's kind of like we've had this cognitive dissonance where we're just like, can't be real. And then now it's someone's gone to jail and hung himself. It's real, or got hung by someone else. But anyway,
Yeah. That death, that's apparent suicide, is very questionable.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, true.
so you do actually believe that, what Q was saying about these high profile people is actually true, and it's happened?
I think a lot of it. I think maybe who, like, I think unfortunately there's probably some big names that get thrown into that bunch just because they're successful. So I feel sorry for, well, they probably don't care, but, I think, yeah, who knows? I think to mention names is always risky because if they're not, then geez, it's it's a pretty bad allegation if it's not true.
Oh, it's
So
horrible.
yeah, I think there's definitely elite that do some terrible things at the elite level. Who's in that list? Who knows? I'm sure. I think we'll find out maybe in the next month or so.
Yeah, we'll see if Trump flushes out the swamp.
Yeah,
That'll be
yeah,
very interesting to see. Um, I wanted to ask you, going back to MLM, because
yep,
you were planning to reveal something very soon in terms of like this new DNA kind of
yep,
based product.
yep.
Why do you think, and this is a question that I've wondered to myself ever since I got into network marketing and direct sales, why are people so against network marketing and multi-level marketing? Like, what is the stigma behind it? Are they just too lazy and don't want to bother to create like their own lifestyle, or do they not understand compound growth and leverage? Are the rotten apples kind of spoiling the other apples as well? Why isn't network marketing better than it is perceived today?
Yeah, well, I think the model itself is just pure genius, but I can see why a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people that don't like it don't really understand its beauty. But I think there's just too many people that haven't made money for one, and too many people get a bit preachy. Like people sign up and start posting, motivation
The
and I'm
fake
an
gurus.
entrepreneur. And yeah, and if you're working a job, you suck, and they probably don't have the results to be talking like that. So, unfortunately, it's too low a barrier to entry to get into MLM. So, unfortunately, a lot of the idiots can do MLM where small business, we got to start up for 50 grand. Idiots can't get their hands on 50 grand. So, I think, that's a big factor. Like, people that, yeah, I probably shouldn't call them idiots, but whatever you want to call them, can access the industry and annoy their friends and spam and get naggy and go too far, and it probably spoils the industry. But also in the last 5 years, most network marketing companies in the Western world are in big trouble because of the Amazon economy. Amazon is just cutting costs, and it's a price war to the bottom, and MLM companies can't drop their price because they've got a whole tree to pay out, and you'd have to cut everyone's commission. So most MLMs are in big trouble right now. If you're selling super greens, a vitamin, skin cream, whatever, you know, it's going to be tough because if Amazon can sell it, and what happened with me is, I was making 50 grand a month, and really good money at that age, 25 years old. And what happened was, we're selling a great product at say $45, and that was about the market average, maybe a little bit more. Now the dollars drop, the price goes up. That product's now maybe $80, but now Woolworths and Walmart and whoever sell that same product at maybe $25, and it's just as good a quality because manufacturing costs have dropped, multitude of reasons. And yes, I think the industry is in big trouble in a lot of ways. I really do.
Yeah, I was listening to this podcast the other day as well, and they said they were talking about the post-coronavirus economy, and
Yeah,
talking about how cinemas and the whole cinema industry is really like at risk at the moment because
yeah,
you can't just have all these people in watching a movie now. It's like obviously you got this whole thing going
yeah.
around. And yeah, he said how Amazon is probably just gonna come in, buy those up, and use it as the manufacturing warehouse because it's got the size and it's in a
Oh,
convenient location right in the middle of every single suburb as well. So
yeah.
yeah, that's just a testament to what you just said as well. Amazon's
Well,
like a
hopefully,
giant black hole.
hopefully, people come out of this and still want to go to a cinema and experience, and that
I
doesn't
hope
happen
so.
because I think that's hurtful for everyone,
Yeah,
like when that happens. But when so I don't know, I don't really have, like, I hope that doesn't happen, but I actually don't have a problem with Amazon ripping the cost out of products because it's cheaper for the everyday person to get an awesome product. I don't like that when Amazon kills an experience that people still love. Where videos, you could argue, well, you shouldn't have killed Blockbuster, but I don't think anyone loved going to the bloody video store. Let's be honest. So, but I think the other thing that's a big question that I don't know the answer to is at the end of this I'm not Amazon, Corona pandemic, is people will rush and go straight to, when as soon as restaurants open, cinemas open, they'll be full for a couple of weeks. But have people lost so much money, so many jobs lost, that after that little spike, the average person now only eats out once a week instead of 7 times a week? That's the question. I don't know. And then also, what retailers are worried about is they're already struggling. Brick and mortar retailers are already struggling because of online shopping. Now, whoever was going to retail shopping is being trained and building the habit of buying online. So when they're building new habits, and even me, like I was eating out 7 nights a week for dinner, probably 7 days a week for breakfast. Now I've never cooked in my life. I've learned to cook, and I've realized a couple of things. It's healthier, it's a lot cheaper, it's not that bad, and to be honest, I don't have to go drive somewhere, drive back. I probably save time. So, am I going to go out back to eating as many times? Definitely not. But we want everyone to make money because, like, I'm getting back in the fitness industry, and it's like, well, we need the restaurateurs making money because they're the ones that buy membership at the gyms. The gym owner, so it's a money circulates. So that's what I don't know what's going to happen. That's a bit scary for everyone, but the world always seems to figure itself out. So let's see.
yeah. I just hope the small and medium businesses can kind of get back. I don't know if they will ever get back to the level that they were before. But they're the ones that are going to be bearing the full brunt of this whole coronavirus pandemic. Um, you're just going to see Amazon get bigger and bigger, and the black hole gets bigger, and
Oh
it
yeah,
keeps
oh
sucking
yeah,
all
yeah,
these
yeah.
fucking little businesses in,
Big,
and you're just going to
yeah,
have
big
these
one.
giant corporations running the world. There's not going to be a small business anymore.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, it's definitely gonna. Yeah, it's a bit scary, but yeah. At the same time, I don't have a problem with big companies making things cheaper for the average person and more accessible. But yeah, it's a fine line. It's a. I don't know the answer, and yeah, who knows what's going to happen? It's a
Exactly. Who
crazy
knows
time.
how long this is going to go on for as well? I mean, we're already, what, 1, 2 months into this whole thing, and Qantas fired 20,000 of its employees.
A
That's
lot of people.
massive. Qantas dropped, I
Yeah,
think I was looking at the charts, 75% in just a month. That's insane. And then
yeah.
ScoMo is going to bail them out with some cash, but I think they're still going to keep going down. They're not flying at the moment, not flying much.
Won't be flying anytime soon either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I also heard Warren Buffett sold some of his airline stocks as well, so he's
It
he's
is.
pretty
Yeah.
bearish. Yeah. Um, Coming out the end of this whole ordeal, do you think that hopefully maybe multi-level marketing and network marketing kind of it reinvents itself and is gets better and more people start to do it because obviously there's less jobs available, and you can do this network marketing thing where you can just put a little bit of money in and then work your way to the top. Do you think it'll be better on the other side?
I would love to say yes. Like I probably consider myself an ambassador to a degree of the industry because it's been so great to me, but I don't think so. I think very few companies will have a product at a price and that's competitive, and you get to a point where like can I sell my mum and dad a probiotic at $80 when they can buy it at the supermarket at 20? Now I've got an ethical dilemma. And I don't know, I think people are getting better in that way, ethically, in a lot of ways. So I think that's the big challenge of network marketing. There'll be company like right now, I think, why iMarkets Live is one of the few companies just kicking ass in network marketing, is because you don't see cheap Forex education everywhere. So that's why I think they've done quite well over the last 4 years, and they've created a good little niche that's not everywhere. It's not at Woolies, it's not on Amazon. So that's why they've done well. So I think you really need that X factor, or it can be pretty tough. But at the same time, the one thing I do really like about network marketing is it helps customers get the education. That's the advantage that they do have that Amazon still hasn't figured out. If I Google right now or Amazon search a super greens, I still don't get a really good feel for what product's good, which one I should buy. I don't know how it tastes. So that's the advantage network marketing does have, because you've got a friend that can say, hey, this product's awesome. I've been using it. Tom got these results. Barry got these results. I'm using it. Tastes great. Here, have a sip. Oh, it is good. Buy it. So that's where I do have hope for network marketing, if that is enhanced, that customer experience is enhanced. And then also the other thing MLMs can do is they can drop the price massively on these products, pay the reps less, but there'll be more volume that will end up making the reps earn more or the same.
Yep.
So that's another option that I haven't seen companies go down yet, but that can definitely help the industry. So I think the industry can figure itself out, but it's really got to add 10x value to the customer experience, or they're not buying it, or drop the price, drop the reps, pay a little bit. And the flip side of that is they'll do more volume, they'll make the same money. So that's the hope I do have for the industry, because if you can figure it out, it's the best industry in the world. Like we took, 200 people, all best friends, to LA on a business trip. Most of us were making money at that point. And it was some of the greatest moments of my life through that industry. So I hope it can figure itself out, but it's got some massive challenges ahead of it.
For sure. There's nothing kind of like an MLM community if you can make it work. If you
Mm.
can get the community aspect down where
Yeah.
everyone's just in sync with each other and all positive and lifting each other up, that is the best kind of environment to
Oh,
thrive.
definitely. Absolutely. The friendships you make, the growth, that's the sweet spot. It's awesome.
Yeah, even when I joined Your Health, I didn't make
Yeah.
any money. I lost money,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
learned so much, and the people that I met. I mean, me and you were talking right now. I would have never have known who you were if I hadn't
Yeah.
joined that
It
company.
was a great group. At that time you come in, we had a really good group together. Like I think across the board, it was a really good quality group at that time. And yeah, they were good times.
I think it should be mandatory when you finish high school, you have to do network marketing for at least a year, just
Well, I
to
think you learn, yeah,
find
the
out.
skills you learn. My God, the skills you learn. There's probably nothing like it in the broad amount of skills and experience you gather. Absolutely.
For sure, because you're out there on your own. Well, not really on your own, but you're kind of like fending for yourself. You're your own boss, but you have this amazing community and
Yeah.
education, and you're just learning life and business skills, and that's something that's really invaluable,
Mm,
especially when you have a good community. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
all right, I don't want to keep you too much longer, Dave. I want to finish off. I got this thing called my top three, your top three, top three. So, who are the top three most influential people in your life?
Well, I'll separate that into two categories: people I've met and had a relationship with,
Yep.
and people that I've followed and I've never met. So people I've never met, I would say Arnold Schwarzenegger would be one of the big ones. Just what I love about him is just that unbreakable vision. You can do anything, work hard, have fun, leave no stone unturned. Now he's got all the dad jokes, and he's a good energy. but he conquered many industries and just went to the top and defied all odds. So I think his story and his example is just there's nothing like it. There really isn't. I'd probably say Robin Sharma was huge for me to give that sort of Eastern philosophy meets the West, aggressive businessman. And that helped create maybe a lot more balance in my life at that time when I probably could, because I made a lot of money at a young age. I probably could have gone off the rails a little bit. It was probably, could have head that way. And I think reading that Eastern philosophy, Robin Sharma, really kept me more balanced, grounded, all the above. So I'd say that was huge for me. Who else would be huge? That I reluctantly say. I'll say this one because it's probably the most controversial. I would say Ben Cousins, who's was on TV last week as it was a horrible sight to watch someone at that low that had been so good. But the reason he was probably my hero was probably his charisma. I know a lot of people that knew him and how good he was to everyone. Like he would talk to the cleaner, the 16-year-old, like you, his best mate. And he was a bit of a larrikin and he worked his ass off, that work ethic. And that really inspired me to work hard because I sort of created that keep running till you throw up, push past everyone else is starting to hurt, you turn it on. You kind of had the Mamba, Kobe Bryant
Mamba
mentality
mentality.
in a lot of ways. Yeah, so I'd say that would be the controversial one, but that was my hero 15 years ago.
Ben
He
Cousins.
was
Wow, very
he got me
interesting.
into fitness. I thought his physique was the best in AFL, and I saw the hard work, the class, all these different things. So he got me into fitness really.
Yeah.
And then people I've met, Greg Plitt, I didn't know, who was the biggest fitness icon in 10 years ago, 5, 7, 8 years ago.
Rest in
But I
peace.
become good friends with him. I wouldn't say good friends, and brought him out to Australia and got to spend, a week with him at his house before he died, So he was definitely the person I've met the biggest influence. But then, Dennis Wong at Your Health
Oh yeah, Dennis.
was beyond, like he was, same level of stature, I think, and brilliant at so many things and helped shape me and help, create a path
He
that
was your
was for
mentor.
me. And yeah, not well, and you obviously eventually left that company, which is, unfortunate, but, things happen. But, and who third that I know? I probably can't think of the third one that I know, to be honest. I'll just say the person I want to be.
That's awesome. Second top three. Um, what are you most grateful for? Top three things you're most grateful for in your life.
uh, Probably just to be in this time. Like we're in this amazing time where you can be on 60 grand a year medium wage and you probably have access to living a life like a king did 50 years ago. Like you can travel fast, you can experience many lifetimes in 3 or 4 years in our generation.
Hmm.
So I think now is a great time to be alive. Like I know there's more depression than ever before, probably because we get it too easy. But I'd say that access to information, like this coronavirus, I can study anything I want. Like you'll see there's yoga blocks everywhere. Like I'm studying yoga now from the best
That's
people in the
cool.
world from my lounge room. Like I think
Nice.
that's awesome. I've been studying breath work from Tony Robbins' breathwork coach from this chair. Like 50 years ago, you'd have to drive for days to visit some mystical person that knows this stuff. So I just think the time we're in, I'm grateful for my friends, family, and everyone that I've lived an incredible life. Like if I shut up shop today at 32, I would not like I'd be obviously disappointed, but I would look back and go, Jesus, you had an incredible life. You met so many good people. You had such a blast with so many things. So I'd say that, and then probably thirdly, like I'm just happy on my journey, like to have this journey and this body, personality, this journey. Like I'm enjoying the journey, and yeah, just happy to be along for the ride in this physical body.
That's awesome, man. That's so refreshing when you say that as well, because we do live in a very special time. This is the golden eras. It might not seem like it now, but we could have been around during the Black Plague. Oh wait, we're
Yeah.
around during
Oh,
Corona, so it's okay. I don't know. All
it
right.
wasn't that bad.
Yeah. And the last three, I know you're a man of many goals, but what are three goals that you're looking to accomplish in the year 2020 and beyond?
So I've just got some. This year I wanted to do some lifestyle stuff. So by the end of the year, I want to be a good surfer. So, I'm an average surfer probably now. So, what would be a good surfer? Be able to do some nice cutbacks, go just jump in on a 6, 8 foot wave pretty comfortably. And that's sort of my goal at the end of the year, to be at that sort of level, out in that type of swell. And that's I'm pretty passionate about that goal, actually. That's probably, I said it first, that's probably number one.
Yeah, cool.
Number two is to do another massive launch. I've got a concept this year that I think will be my life's work. That'll launch probably, hopefully August, September. And I don't think there's anything like it. So to just execute that to its fullest potential is my goal. Like, I think it's got enormous legs. So that's probably number two. And geez, I don't know about number three. Just to live well, like stay on track, stay on good health, good eating, good discipline. You know, yeah, just to live a balanced, positive. Everything so far this year, everything's been really positive. So I just want to keep this momentum for another 8 months, and that'll be a good year.
That's it. Stay focused, stay in flow, don't get distracted.
Stay in flow, guard it with your life.
That's it. Well, yeah, man. Thanks, honestly. Thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences, your perspective. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap things up?
No, well, what are your three goals for the year? What's on your cards?
My three goals. Well, I want to stay in a job. That's one thing. I'm working at a very good tech company at the moment, so
Nice.
we weren't really affected from Corona. We're just working from home, which is really good, seeing as though I'm still getting a paycheck, you know what I mean? And I still have a
Yeah,
job, whereas many people
absolutely.
aren't as fortunate.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
I wanna work on my martial arts. I want to be a better kickboxer and a better wrestler as well. I recently got into martial arts. I've been playing basketball
Nice.
my whole life. My dad was
Yeah.
a professional basketball player back in
Oh,
Europe.
in Europe. Wow.
Yeah, he used to play in the NBL as well when we first moved to
Yeah.
Australia for the Sydney Spectres at the time.
What
He's
year was
old
that?
school. That was
Okay.
when we first came in about the early 90s. I was born in
Right.
93. We came here in 94. So
Yeah.
yeah, my
Okay.
dad's been my hero for my whole life. Still
Yeah.
is. He's just an awesome guy and taught me everything I need to know about sports and basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another goal, I this will be in the monetary kind of category. I want to earn 100K. I want
Yeah.
to earn my first 100K, have 100K clean cash in the bank, ready to deploy wherever, you know.
Yeah.
For too long, I've been living under my full potential, and I think this year and next year, I can feel it. I've been planning for this moment for the last few years, and
Yeah.
I'm honestly on the right track right now. Just need to wait for a few things to play out, and once that happens, oh boy, watch out.
Game on.
Be the next Dave Nelson.
Don't know if you want to be that, mate.
Well, Dave, honestly, thank you again, man. For the people who want to contact you, I'll put your Facebook and your Instagram in the description of this video if anyone wants
Yeah.
to reach out to Dave. But other than that, thank you, man. Stay safe and all the best.
All right. Chat soon, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers.